Okay, so at this stage, I'm going to take it apart, and I need to create a bit of friction on the cam and on the circle on the follower and the circle cam, in order for when it turns, it doesn't slip. It will turn more consistently. So if I take a piece of sandpaper and I draw around the follower to start with, which is the section that goes on the top here. And I take a pair of scissors and then I cut that out. So that's a piece of sandpaper, just something to give a bit more of a rough surface to stop the cam from slipping on the follower. So just carefully cut it out. And then with some glue, you're just going to glue it onto the face of the follower. Now you have to put quite a bit of glue on and leave it ideally to set for as long as you can. Now on the video I'm slightly rushing. You can use like a dryer or something to just try and dry the glue a bit quicker in future. Now I'm also going to measure the width of the cam and mark along the edge of the piece of sandpaper, so that I can cut a thin strip of sandpaper. So I'm using a ruler just to make sure it's a straight line. So I'm going to cut a thin strip the width of the cam, so that I can put sandpaper around the outside of the cam, again to stop it from slipping. So you can see the problem with this is it is sandpaper, it doesn't bend really easy. What I'm doing at the minute is I have wrapped it around, and then I know how much of the sandpaper strip I need, so I'm then going to cut at the point where it goes all the way around the circumference of the circle. You can see I mark it with a pencil first, and then just cut it to size. Now again, very reasonable amount of glue. Now again, I do tend to rush this. It could do really letting it dry as much as possible before touching it. So you want to try and, you can, like I said, you can use a dryer or something just to hopefully allow the glue to dry a bit quicker. Okay, you see it keeps on coming off because the glue is wet at the minute. It needs to be drier before it sticks. Give it a good push down all the way around to make sure it's solid, and if you need a bit more glue, obviously you can add a bit more. And I did trim it down a little bit more a second ago, just because it was slightly over the line. And then you've got your sandpaper on that now. So ideally you'd leave that. And what we've got here is a handle, and I can't really see very well on there, but a handle, and that's been cut on the laser cutter. You can make that yourself, and a little tiny bit of doweling which has been put in. Now I'm putting the follower back underneath, but I've got to be careful that when they put the doweling through, it doesn't push the sandpaper off. Now at this stage, again, I should have left this a bit longer because in a minute it's going to start to come off. So I might need to add a bit more glue. But you bring that through, and I locate it slightly off center so that it'll spin around. You can see I'm having to add a little bit more glue to the sandpaper to hopefully allow it to stick. Okay, and then I've got a circle, which again is just a laser cut circle, which then it's called a stopper, and it's just going to stop the whole mechanism from coming off. So that'll need gluing on there eventually, and the handle will need gluing on. So I'm just testing it now to make sure that it works. Again, I need a bit more glue, so you just have to take your time, make sure it's right. Okay, now when you're finished with that, if you want to glue on your design, again, we've cut out a little design on the laser cutter as well. But you can cut that out yourself if you want to, out of just a piece of material. And then I've used a bit of glue gun to then put glue on that part of the stick, and then push it firmly up against. Obviously, just be very careful not to touch the hot glue because you'll burn yourself. So just gently push it against. Okay, after 10-20 seconds, it should start to dry enough, and then you can test it to see if it's working. And there you go. All right, thank you for watching.